Welcome to the session. We have 4 papers in this session. We have 4 papers in this session. The first presenter, Dr. Ani Abdul Ghani, from University Putra, Malaysia. She's going to present a paper entitled Promoting Collaboration Between Local Community and Park Management Towards Sustainable Outdoor Recreation. You have 15 minutes to present and then 5 minutes Q&A session.
Good morning to everyone. Actually, I'm not a doctor. I'm a PhD candidate. Then Khairil Wahidin Awang is my advisor. Okay. Today I'll be basically presenting a discussion paper or concept paper on which entitled Promoting Collaboration Between Park Management and Local Community Towards Sustainable Outdoor Recreation. Okay, this is just a run through to how I'm going to present today. This is just a flow. I'll begin with introduction and discuss on themes or sub-themes of the whole presentation, and of course conclusions. Right, sustainable. The issues of sustainability has actually received a great attention ever since the Sustainable Development were ordained in 1987 in the Brundtland Report, and ever since that it has gained international interest, and tourism is no exception as well. So sustainable tourism, this is just a very straightforward definition, whereby it's defined as a tourism that is developed and managed in such a way that all tourism activity focuses on heritage resources, natural or cultural, can continue indefinitely. Related to that, nature-based tourism are expected to grow much faster than any kind of tourism on average. And in order to realize that or materialize that, it is very important that conditions of sustainable tourism and recreation should be improved, especially in protected areas. So this is just to bring you to understand what is park and recreation, because basically I'll be focusing more on park and recreation. So recreation definition is also straightforward definition. Basically, any kind of human activity whereby we take part voluntarily during our free time. That is just the definition of that. But nowadays, recreation has transformed not only physical activity but also contributes emotionally, whereby people are now participating because it somehow participating in recreation brings some kind of benefits towards their needs and also motivations. And also nowadays recreation has become one of the way for people to know the history of a places. Like if you go to, or if you go on a vacation or visits to other countries, you wanted to know about the life of the people, you probably will take part in any kind of activities within the community, especially in protected areas or in natural areas. And then nowadays also, as we can see, outdoor recreation has become, or participating in outdoor recreation is seen as like a trend. Nowadays people are wanted to have something to do during the free times. Also, this could be motivated by higher education. Now people are getting better education. We are becoming more appreciative of our nature. We are becoming more aware of what the nature brings to us, the benefits and whatnot. And especially recreation nowadays, people are very important, especially to people who are living in the city, because highly dense populated areas, you go to work, you come back, you need to do something, you need to go out and do something in order to get relaxation, to get your mind off the stress of working or studying or whatnot. So park and recreation in the city are also getting attention. I think most of the city, if I have to take example, Kuala Lumpur, there are parks, recreation are mushrooming in every part of Kuala Lumpur nowadays. Okay, recreation and sustainability. Parks or green spaces provide many benefits, like I have mentioned. For people who live in the city, it creates favorable image, increasing city attractiveness for people to invest, and then increase in value of urban areas, quality of housing, and of course, taking all that into consideration, it would probably have a very significant contribution towards the development of the tourism in the particular city. Not only that, recreation in forest setting is also now seen as very necessary, because recreation in forest setting, like in protected areas, or if you are talking about national parks, for example, they are seen as very essential for the well-being of the society, for people who come. And then recreation nowadays, development and provision of recreation must be based on elements of choice in forest setting, whereby any kind of recreation planning and development must be tailored into the respective community or society who will be using that particular parks. Either informal or informal, and recommended that participation of all parties involved are necessary, especially during planning process. Okay, the issues in park and recreation, this is, I think, if you read papers every day, there's always an issue about environmental problems associated with overuse of parks, overuse of protected areas, and those kind of things. So this is just run through on what are some of the major or most common issues, like overcrowding, probably due to commercialization, and then ecological disruption because you got too many people coming, and then conflict between users. One people might be wanted to do this, there's other people might wanted to do that, and they are in the same areas, there'll be conflict and whatnot. And then multiple interests compete for the same resources, stakeholders, politicians, communities. And then sustainability is easily disrupted by these conflicts. And then, of course, we cannot deny the global changes. There are many factors, but for example, people are now, like I said, becoming aware of the reason why we need to sustain these areas. And then another issue is traditional planning. Model used before and still being using now are usually more focused on centralized approach to planning. So that's something that we need to do in order to achieve the sustainability that we want. And then the need for planning to emphasize learning, collaborative action, and consensus building. This is what I meant by traditional planning were not very friendly to this. So we need another approach in planning. Rising concern for increased public participation and collaboration in park and protected areas planning. This happens, I mean, the concerns is there, the awareness is there, it's only that practice, especially in this part of the world. There probably are participation in US because they are pioneer in park management. But here I will probably be more particular in Malaysia, they are not. And then this is just a Malaysia scenario on park management and protected areas management. These are the departments responsible for planning and managing national parks in Malaysia: DWNP, Department of Wildlife and National Parks, the one who's managing all the parks in Peninsula Malaysia, and for Sabah, it's basically under the management of Sabah Parks, and Sarawak is Forest Department of Sarawak. Basically what they do is they plan and manage some activities. Some might be, there are also parks where they own the park, but then management were taken by private companies. But basically what they do is planning and management of activities, whereby conservation is always the main concern or main goal. And then also protecting the environment becoming important agenda. Nowadays, even Malaysia are going into that direction, trying to come up with more and more practice and actions toward promoting sustainability in parks, promoting conservation, and getting people to be aware of that. And then another scenario in Malaysia. One thing about Malaysian planning, in Malaysia, park and recreation planning has always been top-down approach, whereby top-down as in the government making all the plans and what must be there, what must be provided in the parks for the community, not the other way around, which we should move towards that nowadays. And then this kind of top-down approach is basically resembles rational comprehensive planning theory, whereby the desired features are determined, and then local people, they probably have a platform for the local people to view, to voice out, but to what extent, whether it's been considered, is still not known. And then this is not a widely practiced in parks in Malaysia. Transactive planning is one of the planning approach being discussed in literatures. Basically, what transactive planning is, it is the other way compared to rational comprehensive planning, whereby in transactive planning, people are gathered, small group of participants will share their experiences and knowledge with the planner. They will sit together. It's basically face-to-face communication and dialogue, which eventually provide a setting for the participants to share and use the knowledge that they have from the meetings or from the settings, and then bring together the professional planners and people who are most affected by the planning decisions, which means here will probably be the local community, will probably be most affected by whatever plan that the government or the state government or the that have for the particular areas. And then transitive planning basically will able to produce acceptable decisions to all parties involved. The principle of transitive planning, which goes back in 1973 by Friedman, it has been tested in many places, of course with modification needed to suit that particular areas. And also it has been proven to have positive contribution towards improving communication and cooperation between different entities. In fact, it has been tested in many tourism interest attractions areas, especially in US. Can be effectively integrated into traditional planning model, means it doesn't have to replace the traditional model, but it can be integrated. This is my conclusion. I was looking at possibility of adapting, of course with modification to suit the cultures of our people, the idea of transactive planning process in the planning and management, especially for recreation in Malaysia. And of course, through that, hoping that we can get to the very root, what are the issues and problems pertaining to park and recreation management in Malaysia. Why are we not, what are the problems that really become a barrier in order for us to to practice sustainability in a very correct way, and then able to identify cooperative measures to resolve any of these issues that might be identified. And of course, at the end, I hope that in the end that the study will be able to suggest, if not make it mandatory, but to suggest to the government that this could be done with whatever modification that needed, in order for us to get people and to get community and the park management sit together and make it a platform or promote collaboration or participation and partnership between park management and the local community. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sunny. I now open the floor for any questions from the audience. Any questions?
I would like to ask you, what is the role of tourism by the municipal government? What are the promoting guidance by the government in your country? Yeah. Government role. Malaysian government role to promote the tourism in your country.
Right. Nation government, okay, for parks promotion. You're talking about promotion of the parks. Okay, basically, if I were to take example as in Kuala Lumpur, the parks in KL are basically under this entities called the Municipal Council. So they are the one who manage, manage. But promotion of the park as a recreation will probably be done by different entities, according to where the park is located. Some might be private, some might be not. But as a whole, the government role are basically in terms of planning and managing what are the things that need to be for that particular park.
And my second question is during the presentation, you did mention about ecotourism.
Come again?
You did mention about ecotourism. That's a very important part of tourism.
Yes.
You did mention in your presentation, right?
Okay. Because my presentation is basically, I'm looking at, it can be ecotourism, it can be nature, it can be anything, because I am very much interested in the planning process, the beginning stage into planning whatever kind of product that you want to plan. So now, as of now, what are the practice are top down, like the ministry are doing, I would say instruct, you should do this, you should do that. But I think it's time that we should move bottom up. We should get the community sit together with the planner. That is where I'm focusing on. It can be for tourism, it can be for eco, it can be for nature, marine, whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I came update. Did you follow any model that been done, especially I've been to Australia for a few years time, especially in New South Wales area and in Sydney forever. They have got a good contribution between the collaboration between the community and the local authority in terms of park management. And of course, the local authority have more say than the community. Yeah, they have a kind of council that control their parks, because their parks, their home, and their life. That's how they feel about their parks. So did you use this model to adapt to our system here? At least
Yes.
as a comparison.
Okay. I'll definitely will look into that. But like I said, this is a concept paper of what I have read so far, and I found that transactive planning could be integrated. We could adopt the concept, but probably with modification as to our own scenarios and culture, because it might work there, it might not work here. So that is what I'm looking. But yes, Prof, I'll definitely look into other models that are being practiced elsewhere.
You know, in any collaboration, when we say we want the community to come in and be engaged, how are you going to make sure that your model will ensure that all groups, all necessary groups will be part of that collaborative process? Because if I want to look at culture in Malaysia, you know, in any Jawatan Kuasa, any committees, right? You go to the Toksa Kampung, the Banda, women's voices are hardly there.
Yeah.
And in the discussion we just had recently with the local council in Seberang Perai, we did a gendered, they look at gender data on utilization, for example, of swimming pools, utilization of the recreation area, the parks. We found that actually women were not really there to use these facilities. And that's because they were never part and parcel of that collaborative process. So in your model, how are you going to make sure that these voices get into this collaborative process?
Thank you. Like I said, I'm still considering whether this can be applied or not. But with that in mind, what I have in mind at this particular moment is that, of course, to get everyone in that, for example, in a village, to get everyone in that particular areas at one time is probably going to be a bit hard. So what I have in mind is probably to get the head, the ketua kampung or something like that. But yes, I do agree about women. I'm a woman, so of course we have that. I do agree that at some point we have to have some kind of measurement as to ensure that every representative in that particular platform will represent the community, as in terms of gender or in terms of position in the community or whatnot. I will have to come up with any kind of measure to do that.
One last question.
Okay, so as you study the process, it's not the question, but just only my suggestion that in your model you said a lot for the bottom-up policy. So I think that I suggest that you have to modify your model to the more realistic than concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
I think I have one last comment. This is a suggestion from the economist's point of view. If you take bottom-up approach, it creates a lot of free riding problems where, because recreational park is is a public good, people don't pay but they still can enjoy the benefit. So what is the incentive for me to pay or to participate in the discussion in the preparation of the recreational park? So if I'm an economist or rational thinker, I would not want to pay any single cent and let all the local people to discuss, to prepare the recreational park. What I do is, in the end of the day, I just walk in the park, bring my kids to enjoy, but I do not pay a single cent. So your bottom-up approach will fail. So you have to be very careful, because a recreational park is something which is public. So it creates a free riding problem. Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you very much. Our next presenter is Vijay from University of Delhi, India. The topic of the title of the paper is Studies on Urban Sustainability in City Varanasi, India.
Good morning, everybody. I am Vijay Pandey from Delhi University. I am PhD student over there, and I came to present my paper here. And my research topic is Studies on Urban Sustainability in City Varanasi. Actually, this is a research paper. I have studied on my topic, on my research area, and I have just studied over there what is the suitable condition for living in the city. What is the problem and what are the prospects as well. So I am a PhD student, I am in the early stage of PhD student. My research objective is to study the various aspects of sustainable city, keeping in view the affecting parameters of the city, as well as the impact of the highly expensive growth of the urbanization over there, and what are the infrastructure, what are the infrastructural facilities over there, and to make a policy and putting program, because this is my review paper. So what is the planning going on to make a city sustained in Varanasi? And lastly, to suggest strategies and measures for sustainable urban development. These are my research objectives. You can see I have just mentioned a simple objective because this is my review paper, and I am just I'm going to analyze my paper. Firstly, the question is why sustainability? Why I have taken sustainability? We can say in my 4 topics, 4 points I have suggested. I have written it down. Firstly, the world is becoming increasingly urbanized. You can see in 1991 it was only 2.4 billion people living in the urban area, but by 2025 it will go to up to 25.5 billion. It's a major concern because people is going hardly urbanized in the world. Second, you can see increasing urbanization is happening in especially developing countries. And as we know, we are all from, maximum we are from developing countries, India, Malaysia, even Thailand, you can see all of. And the ratio is, that was in 60% in 1990 to 80% will be by 2025. So sustainability is a major concern for forthcoming years. Now, the urban development linked to the economic development, because a lot of people live in the urban to make employ and to earn some money. So it's a very concern. And lastly, the world population consumption pattern is not being sustained economically, ecologically and socially without make a city sustained, because you have to present generation as well as the future generation. Now, firstly, now the question is what is sustainable development, because before going on the topic on sustainable city, we first know what is a sustainable development. Here I have a figure. Firstly, I like to define the sustainable development. It was pronounced in the Berlin Commission by World Commission on Economic and Development on 1987, and it's sustainable development is development that meets the needs of present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. The main focus is on future generation, but we have to progress with my present, but as well as to protecting the future demands. Here we can see the 3 basic pillars of the sustainable development. That is the socially desirable, second is economically viable, and the last one is ecologically sound. Socially desirable means there is a social equity among the people of the society. Economically viable is the optimum use of resource among the people of the society. And the ecologically sound means there is a symbiosis relationship between the man and its surrounding environment. So these are the 3 basic pillars of sustainable development. Now we can see the picture also. I have integrated 3 pillars into a circle. Now we come to the point on sustainable urbanization, because highly increasing urbanization is a major concern, but we have to make a sustainable urbanization. Urbanization, we can't stop urbanization. My main focus is that we can't stop urbanization, but we can make it sustained. We can make sustainable urbanization. So first I have to say some definition given by Soezi Oikel in 2011, Aditya Olen, Safian and Ezekumi 2007, and UN Habitat is a very good definition by UN Habitat in 2004 by Commission of United Nations on Urbanization. You can say sustainable development is a dynamic process. I already mentioned we can't stop urbanization. So he's saying that sustainable urbanization is a dynamic process that combines environmental, socio-economical, political, as well as institutional. I will define it in my next slide, what is institutional sustainability. Now come to my point, because I am working on sustainable city, and I would like to say that Varanasi is one of the mega city of India, and it's have to make a sustainable city, so we should know what is the feature of the basic feature of the sustainable city. So I mentioned 8 points, and I would like to say it totally belongs to my city. It's It's not for my overall study for the whole city, whole country, but my own city. So these are the basic feature. The control population is very important. Adequate governance system is very important. Efficient basic civic amenities like electricity, telephone, safe drinking water is very important. Now appropriate transport system is very important. Mass rapid transit system is going to very fast over there. Now effective environmental infrastructure, because to make a city sustain, environmental concern is very important. Now development of efficient urban private sector, both formal and informal, non-formal. I would like to define formal and non-formal, because in my city about 60% people are working in non-formal activities. So we have to suggest planning for that, because they are not a beneficiary of the government policies, because they are in informal sector and unorganized, you can say, is an unorganized sector. Now, and efficient health system is very important. And lastly, the empowerment of women, because women play a very important role in the city, and the gender gap is increasing. So women important to increasing their participation in urban planning. These are the basic features of sustainable city. Now I come to my point. You see my city, Varanasi. It's located in India and the province of Uttar Pradesh. It's located in the middle Ganga Valley. You can see the area of my city, and as well as the lat long of my city. And it's totally the bank of the Ganga River. Everyone know about the Ganga River. It's a very holy river of India as well as the world, and a very long river. And Varanasi city is on the bank of Ganga River. It's a humid subtropical climate. Summer and winter both temperature is over there. Now the population is about 1.3 million over there. I mean 13,71,000 approximate. And literacy success rate 89. This is the basic feature I would like to say. 77% is literacy over there, and mainly 1,38 people living in the slums. It's a basic feature of the city Varanasi. This is the population projection I would like to mention. Now the population of the city is about 1.3 million, and it's going to increasing day by day, and it will be up to about 2.6 million from 2031. It's a population projection on growth, indicator growth rate, because about 2.8 indicator growth is annually in my city. So it's a big concern. The population is going regularly high over there. So it's a very good concern. Now this is a map. You can say over India, and then UP province, and then district of Varanasi. This is a city of it. The picture is not very clear, so sorry for inconvenience. But this in blue you can say the Ganga River, and then in red it's a municipal boundary, and in the dotted area it's a railway boundary, railway lines, and the whole city. The master plan is here too. So you can see there's a map. It's not very clear. So sorry. Now the issue, what is the issue regarding the unsustainability in city of Varanasi, as far as my study in my city. So these are the 7 major unsustainability points over there. The poor local governance is a big problem over there. So government planning do not take in real, and so government policies very good, but in paper only, not in the practical, and weak finances as well, inappropriate planning as well. You can say in poor local governance, unaffordable housing and office space is very important over there. Critical infrastructure shortage, as earlier mentioned, and the inadequate transportation system, and finally the rapidly deteriorating environment is a very big concern over it. So this is the issue. On that basis, I have studied my topic. Then now the question is, why I have just in my study I would like to say, in my study I have selected some set of indicators. Firstly, I would like to say why indicators is very important, because indicators have the role for measuring performance. And in the process of urban sustainability assessment, there is a need of measuring indicators. Without indicators, we can't measure anything. So indicators is a fundamental thing to measure anything. According to the United Nations Statistical Institute, it defined that any indicator should be in 5 major aspects. It should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time relevant. There are 3 basic modes of the indicator: time, distance, time, space, and phenomena. These are 3 basic. There are three my indicators. I have selected three indicators. That one is socio-economic indicator, ecological indicators, and institutional indicator. These are three my basic indicators. But in my study, I would like to say I have mentioned only about the socio-economic indicators. Because it's very vast, very important, as well as a very major concern. One is the health, second is education, employment, and housing. For health is very healthy lifestyle is very important. A knowledge-based society is very important. A better living standard with space is very important. So this is socio-economic. Now these are the four health indicators as far as my concern and my study in city of Varanasi. Underage 5 mortality per 1,000 population, per 1,000 birth. Number of inpatient hospital beds per 1,000 population, average life expectancy, number of healthcare professionals is very important. These are health indicators. Now this is the educational indicator, percentage of children completing primary and secondary education. And this is first one is a completing primary and the second is secondary education. And the student teacher ratio is very important. This is education indicator. Now this is a health facility in my city. You can say I in my government facility, I divided it into two figures. First one is the primary health care facility, and the second one is about community health facility. But you can see here the private health facility is much more prominent than government facility. This is you can see the health clinic is 21, maternity and nursing home is 83, and the registered provider is 47. But in government facility, it's very few. You can see. So it's a very long gap between the private and the government sector. This is a key issue I would like to inform you. I would like to say in my health concern. The growth of private healthcare sector has been largely seen as a boon. However, it has ever been social dichotomy because social gap is increasingly. The second is the combination of the perceived health and lack of support of the mechanism is a poor quality of life. Number of inpatient hospital beds per 1,000 population only 6.4 is a major concern, and the healthcare professional you can say only 0.9% per 10,000 population. And the per capita expenditure on the health public sector is very low, 0.7% of GDP, city's GDP. This makes public health care very inadequate and unfunded. This is a major finding of my research. Now the educational facility, you can say the one medical college, one engineering college, 4 polytechnics, 27 is of basic, and you can say vocational training centers, and there's 42 those higher secondary educations and the pre-university colleges. The key challenge in education system is the financial aid is very important. Only 0.6% GDP is spent on education system. To functional literacy improve, you have to improve the functional literacy, because literacy is not to only read and write. It's not a concern. We should emphasize on the functional literacy so that you can understand the meaning. You can say something. You can write a letter to incorporate with the people. And the government commonly plays to the increase. I told earlier, only government plays to make a policy and a prompt, but not really being delivered in the practices. Now, lastly, the improving accessibility, quality, and inclusion at all the level of education. These are 3 basic pillars. Now, these are the employment indicators, the percentage of people in full-time employment, as well as you can say it in occupational structure. Employment to population ratio is very important. And in housing, I mentioned here the 2 basic indicators. The first is city population living in the slums, because slums is quite as a major concern in the mega city, in my city also. And second is the number of households that exist without registered legal title, the proportion of unauthorized housing in the city. I can make a figure here. You can say the employment profile of the city. You can say here the very big concern, 73% is not employed. I mean, they are not working, and 11% in manufacturing, 7% in trade and commerce, 5% other services like you can say the handbags and the handicrafts and the unorganized sector. Only 1% is in agriculture sector. 1% is in construction, and 1% is marginal workers. Occupational structure, you can say in my city. These are the key issues. The percentage of working population, as I told earlier, is informal sector. 63% people are in informal sector. You can say unorganized sector. And the city is not a major manufacturing base in my city. Small industries, you can say small and cotton industry over there. Workers are employed without secure contract. There is not safe prostitution over there, and the limited access to trade institutions. No proper developed policies to place in sick industrial unit. no policies there. This is a housing stock in my city. You can say the demand is very high, the supply is very low in my city. By 2011, it will go up to 2 lakh, you can say, yeah. And the supply is very low. It's up to 13. So very long gap between demand and supply. This is a housing structure in my city. 92% is permanent structure, 7% is semi-permanent, and 1% is. This is the urban slums scenario in my city. Total population living age in my city is 1.3 million, and in that 1.3 million people, 13,905 people living in slums. Outside, you can see the number of people below poverty level of slum population 80,000. This is a slum population concentration in my city. You can say the maximum 94 settlement is between 1,000 and 2,000 settlements. The number of figure, you can say the slum concentration in my city. These are key issues for housing condition. The housing stock is not available to cater to the increasing population. The overcrowding is also very important, very big concern. Institute. The city has made under plan is city unplanned residential housing, and new housing development schemes will be linked to it. In situ upgradation, like and ex situ is very important. These are two planning procedures. One in situ and ex situ. In situ is much better than. And this is my concluding remarks. The redeveloping wastelands, revitalization in city, promoting urban design is very important. Community participation is very important. And induction of urban and economic planning to ensure the link between the various plannings. And the coordination lastly is very important. Lastly, I will make a figure of flower of sustainability. 4 basic pillars, you can say, the economic, environmental, social, and agriculture. On this basis, a flower grows and produces beautiful flowers for us. And you can say people come and see beautifully the figure, but can't touch that because flower sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay. Now open to the floor for question. Any question? Yeah, I think.
I'm just two points. One, I'm curious why your sex ratio is 879 women per 1,000 males, which is really opposite of population ratio in many countries. So I'm curious about that. Second, I'm so happy to see you put there number 8, empowerment of women, as critical or fundamental to anyone who talks about sustainability, sustainable development. But your indicators are not sex-based indicators. So how are you going to measure what empowerment is going to be if you are not disaggregating your sex data? You can't tell what is really happening when you're just going to get an aggregate.
Firstly, I would like to say that in my review paper, I'm in my early stage of my PhD work. So basically, my knowledge is based on the secondary data. As far as my concern, when I studied on a secondary basis at my study area, I've got some interview with a woman. On that basis, I feel that the empowerment of women is a big issue in my city, because the women are not much aware about the planning and policy putting by the government in my city. Yes, it's very big concern that only 87 females, 879 female per 1,000 population. But in my whole country, the ratio is 1912, 912 per 1,000 population. So for the employment of people, I have to make some some set of indicators, especially for the women.
But even in India, if you say the overall is 9 something per 1,000, it still means the ratio is less women than men. But this is an opposite picture of what is happening in other countries, which is naturally, the ratio is always more women. In Malaysia, it's 102 per 100,
in my
like that.
proceeding study, I will make some micro study I will take for empowerment of women and take some more indicators so that I can get some exact figure what is going on.
I think there's something going on there. Something going on about why you're not getting this number of women. It's either children were not born, that means they were aborted very early, But the moment they're known as women, girls, they just are that could be that. Or I don't know what is going on, but definitely there is not a picture that should
Yeah, it's
happen.
not exactly.
No, it's not a picture that should happen in the population. But I think I would really suggest strongly that your indicators, you have to